Hey, Gator Nation, welcome back to another all new episode of the Respect Our Decision podcast. Guys, as always, I'm your boy Hirsch. With me, CJ the Man McCann,
What's up, guys?
and of course, the hype man Wes.
What's good, Gator Nation? What's good?
Yes, sir, Gator Nation. Hey, guys, thanks first of all for checking out the little video I did this weekend to talk about Vernell Brown's commitment. We're going to talk a little bit more about Vernell here in a second. So these guys can chime in and give their opinions. I know they were excited as well, but we wanted to get a little something out there when it was hot off the presses. Thank you as always for that, man. Always thanks for the support. Make sure checking us out on YouTube, guys. As always, if you haven't already, and a lot of you haven't, do us a favor, guys. Go ahead and subscribe to the video. But even more importantly, if you're watching this now, take a second, man, and hit that like button. That helps us more than anything, guys. It gets us in the old YouTube algorithm. I talk about it every week. I'm not gonna keep on about it. And as always, you can download us wherever you get your podcasts from. This show will be available on all platforms. Real quick, before we move on, though, I do want to give a big shout out, guys, to the Gator Truth podcast, man. Go check out the latest episode of the Gator Truth podcast, hosted by my good friend Daniel, man. The guy does a phenomenal job on that. He had me on as a guest. That episode is up now. But if you don't want to hear anything about me and my fandom, I mean, y'all hear my voice all the time. He had an episode last week with Ben Chase. Very good episode. Be sure to check that out. We don't often plug everyone else's stuff, but really good guy trying to get his channel up. He started his channel right at the same time we started ours, about a month after us. So go check that out. And as always, guys, if you are able, if it's within the realm of your possibilities and you haven't done so already, guys, go join with Florida Victorious. Go to floridavictorious.com. Use our code DECISION and get 20% off your first month and put that money to whatever sport you want it to go to. If you want it to go to football and you're like, man, I need Rob Sale to get me some damn offensive linemen. Maybe my $10 will be the one that finally gets it done. That's all you. Maybe if you want Sully to hold on to these pitchers instead of them going to the Twins and signing contracts, maybe that's where you put your money. I'm just saying, we got options. But check that out, guys. Use our code, save 20%, help Florida athletes. All right, guys, let's get into it, man. We got a few good subjects to talk about. We got some good goings on. Staff member back on the staff that left us. We're going to talk about Joe Hamilton in just a minute. But as I said at the opening, I want to give you guys an opportunity to weigh in on the addition of Vernell Brown and what it means to you. Wes, go ahead. I know you're hype, as always.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We talked about that for a couple of weeks leading to this commitment that we received on Sunday. We talked about what it means for next year and the year after for DJ Lagway. Hopefully, if he's currently for the Gator, we know how the transfer portal is and how much this season hinges on as far as Billy Napier keeping his job. So you want to get talent in for that kid, knowing that Trey won't be here forever, and you have some young guys that shows promises as far as Mazel and Andy Jean. But you wanted a stud guy. I don't know. The last time I believe we got a 5-star receiver, was it Percy or I can't think of the other kid's name at the top of my head. He was a good good returner.
I mean, technically, Eugene Wilson was a 5-star.
DeBose.
Andre DeBose. Yeah. So yeah, but Trey was a 5-star
Yeah, on three, he was 5-star, and we're going to count it, damn it.
Yeah, we're gonna count that, but
we're gonna be like Miami Twitter.
we don't have many to count. So
I can count
Miami
the
Twitter,
names.
and when it fits our agenda, we're gonna use the rankings that work for our show. So anyway, go on.
Yeah, just like Grimes was one as well. I think on Rivals Grimes was one, but he wasn't one we got out of recruiting. He transferred in as well.
You recruited him?
Yeah, we recruited him. Okay, you hyping me up here. So,
yes,
yeah, but to get this kid in this class, we talked about it. Shout out to Zach Everboard for doing that commitment video. That was very, very a very, very good video. Seeing the lineage of the great Florida Gators that were in his family that we all loved, that were part of Gator Nation, won some championships here. So that was special. That was wonderful to see, and just thankful that we have this kid with this pedigree, and to see some of his highlights on there. If you haven't seen it, please check that video out. His commitment video. It was touching I think it was maybe like 4 or 5 minutes of an interview
It was
with
fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, with I believe his uncle, his father, and his grandfather. So that was tough. Nice video, seeing him make plays and the things he was doing. Didn't know he was playing varsity, I believe, in the 8th grade, which is like stupid crazy.
Kelvin
But
Taylor, like,
yeah, and he, I mean, he fits the bill. Something that we want as far as a playmaker in his class. Somebody we want to pair it with our hopeful all-world quarterback to somebody that can add more weapons. You can never have enough weapons, especially playing in the SEC with guys getting injured and Nick sprain an ankle, you could be out for 2 3 weeks. So you never know. And I just want to keep adding talent. We want to keep adding talent. We want our offense to be of that of the old where we were so explosive, and you need guys like this to compete in the SEC. There's no other way around it. With Texas and Oklahoma coming in, and we know Georgia's going to be Georgia, and Alabama seems like they haven't left anything from Saban. They have the number 1 recruiting class in the country again. So you want to compete. You got to have dudes in here. We believe we have a dude at quarterback, but he can't go out. There's no more Cam Newton doing it by himself in the SEC. Not with this SEC that we. This is a new iteration of the SEC where you're playing round robin schools. You're not just playing in the East anymore, where you might could get away with playing in the East. You're playing a lot of teams from the West, and you have to play Georgia every year. Have to play Florida State every year. Then you have these others. The way that I know we canceled the California game, but we have some other schools on the schedule. I think we play Miami again in a couple years. So you want to continue to stack talent, and he was a big get. I don't care about the he was a legacy kid. Nah, you with way we've been recruiting with certain stuff. I don't see anything. I still don't wanted him to sign, but I don't count anything until I see the kid commits, until the kid signs. So very positive, very good vibes, and I love it. And 5 star, you can't nothing to say else to say about it.
CJ, my fault. Got some
Oh no,
thunder
you're fine.
going on. I was
I was
trying to
like,
mute out the thunderstorms.
I thought I lost it. No, it's great to get him in the class. Vernell Brown is going to be a big part of this offense. We are kind of disappointed last year you didn't get that real bell cow wide receiver in the class last year. You got Abrams and you got Hawkins, who were 2 really good players, but you didn't get anybody on that level. Where kind of like the year prior, where you got Eugene Wilson to go with Andy Jean and Aiden Mizell. Now you've got it in a position where you could have more, and now you've added Brown, and then if you add Montgomery next month, you really got a solid three-headed monster at wide receiver that you've added in this class. So that's a really good redemption for Billy Gonzalez. I think Billy Napier has a lot to do with recruiting these wide receivers too, and then David Doker as well. I think they really respond well to him. Um, I kind of expected Doker to be the heir apparent wide receiver coach when it's all said and done. This might not be the most popular thing in the world, but the kids really seem to respond to him. But no, he's a big get. Of course, it's a legacy. Never hurts. You always want the big legacy kids to come play at Florida. We've done pretty good with Billy Napier at getting those kids. When you look at the Webbs and the Grahams, those kids that come in now, you looking at Brown, and maybe you add Hanks. So you've added a couple more. So those are very important to what we're building here. Um, they've got a legacy. They've got stake in the game. We talked about it being their kind of like their birthright to be here. So it means a lot more. So if you do have to change coaches, if we lose a coach or if Billy leaves, these kids still do have some motivation to kind of still want to stick with Florida. Not just only from living here, but it's kind of a family thing. So maybe that helps them, stay
Good
out of the
points.
portal.
That's a good
Uh,
point.
so I think that's important to get those kids. You give them something else to think about in today's day and age, where all these teams are coming at you from left and right to get you to change your mind and go somewhere else. So I think that's important. I think that they've done a good job with that. This is a kid who's electric. He makes plays. He's got it in his blood. Um, you add him to DJ Lagway, and then DJ has all these tools to work with next year with a lot of these great wide receiver talents. We're hoping that Mizell and Jean progress, and then you want to see Abrams and Hawkins progress. Then you bring in guys like Moore and possibly Montgomery and now Brown. You've got a really good set of wide receivers that could come play for Florida and really give DJ Lagway somebody to lean on, because your quarterback's only as good as his weapons, especially in today's game, because of how the talent is so much higher now than it used to be. So I think it's great on all fronts. I think Florida did a good job here getting it done, getting our highest rated recruit in the class. It's really important. Maybe this is the shot in the arm that we've been waiting on to kind of reel in a few more and get us sitting pretty good by the time the season rolls around. We get to September.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said in the little video I did on the weekend when he committed, I think this will definitely be a kickstart to getting some other kids to follow suit now. I mean, you look these kids look at things. I mean, they're not dumb. They look at it. They see, well, nothing's really going on over there, man. What am I jumping into? I don't want to be the only kid in the classroom. um and now you see Vernell take that jump, and that's a big fish, and kids gravitate towards that. And then people talk, and Vernell plays with a lot of these guys in 7-on-7 and things like that. I mentioned one guy I mentioned in particular in that video this weekend was Tremel Jones. Was that they played 7-on-7 together, and I know that Tremel Jones has come out and said, "I'm done. I shut it down. I'm solid to Florida State." Come on, guys. Anybody believing that any recruit that sends out a message in the year 2024 that says my recruiting is shut down when NIL dollars are floating around, in the atmosphere out there, I got some beachfront property in Tennessee to sell you. It ain't happening. I mean, any of these kids can be made to rethink their position at any time. Obviously, we saw it last year. When our games got played, we thought we had a lot of kids that we didn't have to worry about. And then, all of a sudden, how many times did Flat Top shut it down last year? 5, 6 times? Darius Hayes, for those who don't know who we're talking about. Darius Hayes said his recruitment was shut down 4, 5, 6 times last year. And then we know what happened. So I don't buy it. It ain't, don't sell to me. So we're going to talk here in a second about maybe some of these guys that, we got the grill in the Ville happening this weekend, and there's not a set in stone list for this now. And coach has got some guys they're working on and getting in that are kind of, the names aren't out there yet because they don't want them out there because other people have things going on. I know Auburn has a Big Cat weekend this weekend and stuff like that. So some kids will show up as a surprise. But before we get to that list of names, new recruiter back on campus that, what was old is new again, as the old saying goes. This started hitting Twitter last week right after we did our show that, we're getting a surprise. A coach is back and stuff like that. A lot of cryptic tweets. Y'all know how it works. And a couple of us had already kind of heard who it was probably going to be, and it ended up being Coach Joe Hamilton. Some of y'all know him as Rod Wave because he looks just like him. Joe Hamilton had obviously taken a job at Texas A&M. Well, now he's back. I've had a lot of questions. Hirsch, why is he back? What was the point of that? Why did he go? Look, I don't know the man's personal business. I don't know everything that goes behind that. All I know is we made it worth his while to come back. Maybe some more responsibilities, all that good stuff. But Joe Hamilton is a big piece because he's a hell of a recruiting guy. Now, obviously, he's not an on-the-field coach, and he's not going to be an on-the-field coach, even with the new rules that are out there. Joe Hamilton is a strictly off-the-field recruiting guy. He builds relationships with people, especially in the state of Texas. Joe Hamilton, for those who do not know, who are just completely, oblivious to these kinds of things, was instrumental in DJ Lagway coming to the University of Florida. He was a big part of us having Xavier Filsaime for so long as well. Now, obviously, we know how that ended. That wasn't Joe Hamilton's fault. He got us in the door. He's not the one that closes the door. But this is a tremendous addition back to the recruiting staff. Obviously, he doesn't just recruit Texas. He has, recruiting ties everywhere. So it's great to have this guy back in the fold. CJ, you have any thoughts about Joe Hamilton being back?
No, it's important because it establishes a pipeline of guys that otherwise we wouldn't have access to. We saw after he left the Texas recruits that we had lined up that a lot of us felt really good about, Fasusi, Petty John, those guys out there that kind of went away because you didn't have that connection anymore, and you could blame that on a couple of different things, Bateman leaving, and things like that. But Joe Hamilton's an important part of that. He's an important part of recruiting Texas. If you want to win football games, you need to recruit Texas. You need to recruit Texas well because they produce some of the best talent in the country. You want to really get a foothold there if you can. That helps out a ton, especially with as many people that are coming and picking at Florida for all the talent that's in this state. It helps to have another talent-rich place to go to see if you can make up some gaps. So, no, big part of it. I'm really glad he's back. Big part of the recruiting game. Important to DJ Lagway. How we stand there. So I think it's a good job by the staff or behind the scenes to make sure you get him back in the fold because he's important. I think that we've seen a downtick in our recruiting thus far. Maybe this is again something gives it kind of a shot in the arm and helps us out. And at least starts having some more conversations and opening up some more recruits that we've kind of missed on now. We need to make up with and maybe opening up another pipeline of another state that can help you out with some kids that maybe have been overlooked by us or kids that didn't really show any interest in us because they didn't have anybody to talk through, no liaison there. So now Joe Hamilton being back, that helps out a ton. I don't see any negatives here. Whatever it took to get him back, awesome. I think that's the kind of things we need to do at the University of Florida and make sure that we don't just give up on stuff like this, especially when we need to make moves. I wish that moves had been made to just keep him in place and him not leave. But you live and you learn. To get him back, is better than not having him. So great job by them. Glad he's back, and I think it's going to help us a lot.
Wes, any quick thoughts on Joe Hamilton?
Yeah, CJ talked about a lot of times that we are really reactive and not proactive, and you kind of mentioned that just now when he's saying that he wished we had put stuff in place to keep him and not let him even go in the first place. But props to the staff for getting him back in the fold. To have him back and to try to get him back is to let you know how important he is and the type of work that he does behind the scenes with these recruits because they could have just moved on and replaced him with anybody and there's some guy that none of us has ever heard of before. But the fact that they went back and did whatever it took to get him back in at the university campus means that he is a special dude and he has a special power as far as recruiting guys and building those relationships and how special he is at that in that area. So you have Texas A&M and Oklahoma now in the SEC. So with them being here, you got to recruit those guys out there because now those guys are going to be playing the SEC anyway. So having a guy that's has relationships with the schools and the high schools and the kids out there in Texas is big because you're going to have to recruit those guys that CJ alluded to because they produce like Florida, like Georgia, like California. They are a hotbed state for good recruits. So good to have them back on campus. Good for the staff for doing what it took to get them back here. So I'm very, very happy.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, this couldn't come a moment too soon. Obviously, recruiting is about to fire back up. Coaches are back on campus. Football is about to get in full gear. NFL teams reported today, all that great stuff. And the Gators obviously are going to fire it up soon. But before we do that, we've got the grill in the Ville this weekend. Pretty much all of our commits are going to be there. So I'll just go ahead and throw that one off the top so we don't have to go name by name. Every one of our commits as of now that I see, except Micah Jones, who's in Mississippi, is scheduled to be here. So that's awesome. It's great that everyone, obviously right now we don't have like 20 kids to get here, but it's good to have the guys that are committed, including Will Griffin as well. I'm not going to go real deep in the 2026 kids. I'm going to try to stay real focused on the 25s, but obviously Will Griffin and Jalen Seatbelt Waters will both be here as well for this event. So let's talk about uncommitted kids that will be here. The first and foremost that I think is the most, I don't want to say he's the most important, but he's the most likely to commit next is Nashawn Montgomery, wide receiver out of Miami. He came out yesterday with his official commitment date. It is August 25th. Now, granted, we know how these things go. That could always get moved up by a circumstance. You know, we've seen it happen in the past. Just depends on what happens between now and then, and what the, you know, maybe the kid wakes up one morning and goes, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm ready to commit. But he will be here for this visit. I think it's a tremendous time for him to be on campus, you know, with especially Vernell Brown right there in his ear going, look, this is, you know, we can put together this receiving room. It'd be me, you, Josh Moore. That's almost as good as any receiving, you know, recruiting room in the country right now. So that would be fantastic. And people that know better than me feel really good about Nashawn Montgomery right now. So this is the opportunity here to probably go ahead and really seal that deal. Next guy, linebacker, Ty Jackson, number one linebacker in the state of Florida. I believe in like on three, he's like the number one linebacker in the country. But you know how that rolls. Every site has a different ranking. Ty Jackson will be here for this. Now, a lot of people have asked, when is Ty Jackson going to commit? Do we have a chance to get him soon? As of now, per him, he's not committing till December. He's going to wait until early signing day. This is another one of those situations where, okay, the kid says this now, but that could change at any given time. The right NIL deal can make any kid want to commit at the right given time. So we'll watch and see how it plays out. I think it speaks highly. The kid has been here a bunch of times. I mean, he was here on an official visit back in June. He's back now for this. As the old adage goes, more times than not, follow the visits. And that'll lead you to where the kid's most likely heading. On the JUCO side of things, and I can hear people already, oh, God, Hirsch, I don't want to hear about no more JUCO kids. And I, you know, hey, George Gums, I still think might have a good year, man. He's a workout warrior. Look, CJ, that's CJ's pick to click. He's going the West route.
That's my stone cold lead pipe lock of the year. You will know the name George Gums.
George Gums.
He will win the Lombardi Trophy or whatever they give him that, the Nagurski, one of those.
Jesus God. God dang, y'all thought West was hype. But anyway, a 4-star JUCO defensive lineman, Xavier Hardy, out of East Mississippi Community College. Now, this kid is ranked right now currently the number one JUCO prospect in the country. And some people probably recognize the name. He was a kid that Florida recruited previously. He had committed to South Carolina. He's a defensive lineman. I'm sorry, I just completely skipped by that. He's like 6'4", 270. So great size on the kid. He was committed to South Carolina. Obviously didn't have the grades. Went to the JUCO route or community college route, and now he's good to go. He's taking a visit here. He's from Macon, Georgia. So just a shot up. He's, 75 from Gainesville. We need defensive linemen in this class. So I'll take a all-day flyer on a kid that's not that far out of high school. That was a big, that was a good recruit coming out of high school. Especially
about a top JUCO program, too. East Mississippi Community College.
East Mississippi is one of the top JUCO programs. Yes. So
there's Buddy Stevens.
Yeah, that would be I think this would be a really good grab if the staff could get a hold of this kid. So I understand that, a lot of people don't like JUCOs. My thoughts is it's no different to me to take a JUCO kid that's proven himself on the field than taking a transfer from a lower rated school that's proven himself there. That's my personal opinion. If you can play football, you can play football. I get the,
Reggie
a lot
Nelson
of
could play football.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. It goes back to, what were you coming out of high school? This kid was recruited well by SEC programs coming out of high school. It wasn't like he was just some kid that they were like, I ain't never heard of this kid. One person that won't be here as of today, per him and his father, is Ben Hanks. But rest assured, the word on the street is the staff feels really good about Ben Hanks Jr. right now. He could very well actually be the next guy that could commit if Nashawn Montgomery sticks to his timeline. Ben Hanks could commit before him. I'm not saying he's going to, but let's see how it works out. I know they feel like they're in a good spot with him. They're trying to get some movement going here before the season starts, recruiting wise, and let's see how it goes. Wes, what are your thoughts on these visitors?
Yeah, I'm loving that the guys committed except for one is in the class. We don't have a real big class right now, but to have all those guys except for one, I think we had what I can't remember, but so that's 90% of the guys that's committed in your class coming in. So that's a start. Then you mentioned some of the guys like Boone being there with Montgomery, and I think if I'm not mistaken, August 25th might be a Friday or Thursday. So his commitment is like right before our game against Miami. So hopefully that's some big news right before the game starts. But as you alluded to, who knows what might happen this weekend? He might, you know what? I said the 25th. I remember Castell did that. Castell had his set up later on in the season, and we got him to commit during the cookout, I believe, that weekend. So it was Friday night, like it's one or the other. But as you alluded to, things can change and kids can move up their commitment days. You never know. So he might be feeling the vibe this weekend, eating a good barbecue, and he might, you know what, Mom, I think the time's now. I think I want to tell Coach now. Vernell has been in my ear. DJ has been in my ear. I think I'm going to do it now. So you love that. We talked about Jackson as well. He's saying December. I like adding depth there at the linebacker position. We have two guys that just came in. I know Graham, and I know you guys are very, very, very high on he just came in for the summer.
Childs.
He wasn't here doing the early enrollment, but he just got in the other day, I believe. I saw his name. So you guys are very high on him and Graham. So, but it doesn't hurt to add depth to that position as far as linebacker. We've been hurting there for years and years and years. So that's special. But you mentioned the defensive line. We've been leaning on the portal a lot to get some D tackles in, strong side defenses in. I love the young guys that we have now currently with the McCrays and the Cerseys and the Collins, even though Collins is not on the outside anymore. But I love those guys that we brought in. But you want to continue to add depth there, especially in the SEC. We can't harp on enough as far as the trenches and what that means in the SEC. You have to win up front. So you talked about how he was a highly recruited guy. This is not a guy that was a two-star, went to JUCO and blossomed there. He was already highly recruited. He just didn't have the grades. And I mentioned while you were talking about Reggie Nelson. For those who don't think of JUCO guys like that, Reggie Nelson was a guy that spent what 10 plus years in the NFL, but he was the start of some great safety play in the early 2000s when he came here. So, and he was a JUCO kid. So don't be so quick to mum those guys that go the JUCO route because they might have had some great issues, some immaturity. Not saying that was his situation, but a lot of times when you don't take the classes you should or put forth the effort and you have to go that JUCO route and then you live and learn, okay, I don't want to be in Kansas playing football, so I'm going to learn my lessons so I can get out of here quick and do what I need to do so I can live out my dreams. So I'm pretty happy with that. As you let the fans know, and I'm going to reiterate, there could be some prize names that come this weekend as well. This is just a list. This is Wednesday night when we're doing this podcast, so it could be some guys that come in that we don't know about. But I love the way, with all things, with everything that's going on, and we know how recruiting is because of what has happened the last 2 years on the field and how important this year is on the field. I'm feeling the vibe. I don't have high expectations like I did last year, wanting that top 5 class, wanting that top 6 class. I'm not there, so I just want a solidified class where we get some high end guys at high end positions and maybe hit up the portal to go all in with DJ next year. So that's where I'm at.
Completely agree. CJ, your thoughts real quick?
No, just good job by the staff. Get these guys here. We talk about all the time. You get swept up in a moment. You don't know. These kids are pretty fickle. You can't tell what they're going to do. So you get a kid on campus that you're recruiting, and he gets here and he just enjoys himself. You can definitely admit we've seen the staff do it. So yeah, I hope the guys enjoy it. Enjoy the process for sure. I think that that's important. This is a really cool event that we've been doing for the last couple of years. So I hopefully we get some good news out of it. And hopefully we get some good momentum out of this.
Yeah, it's been a really good builder that Billy's established to, you know, connect with the families of the recruits as well. That's what I've noticed the most is that all the comments that the families make. All right, guys. We hate to be short this week, man. We got some really bad storms hitting where I'm living, and I'm worried that if I don't jump off of here very shortly, we're going to lose power, and this whole recording is going to go kaput. So, and I don't want that. These guys don't want that because they hate nothing more than me saying something happened with the recording and, you know, all that jazz that goes with it, you know, technical stuff. So, CJ, anything to add real quick before we get out of here?
No, just make sure you guys always support us as creators. Check out the Twitter, check out the Facebook, like, comment, subscribe, all the stuff. Check out the chat and the Facebook. We have a lot of good conversation. It's going to be heating up a little bit more as we get closer to the football season. More football stuff to actually talk about, so that's always good. Check out our friends with Alma Mater. Use our link. Pick up your great merch over there. They got hats. They got shirts. They're selling them like hotcakes. They got new stuff coming out. They got some old stuff that's still there, like the hoodie that Hirsch is wearing. You can get that. I've got a pile of hats over here that I bought from them. If you guys like those, and check them out. You know, people ask all the time, "Where'd you get that hat?" Well, it's Alma Mater. Use our link. That helps us a ton. Use our code at Florida Victorious if you want to give to Gator NIL. Help us out and buy some recruits here. We need the help we can need all the help we can get right now.
Buy some recruits.
Buy some recruits. Recruiting, baby. ABC. So if you feel led to do that, we really appreciate it. Just use our code, get yourself 20% off. And those folks over there greatly appreciate it too. But other than that, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys.
Man, I tell you right now, somebody important listens to this podcast. CJ is going to get hired away to read the fine print on medical ads. Tell you all the side effects.
I'm going to start doing actually they're bringing micro machines back, and they're going to have me.
Oh, there you go, the micro machine man. Are telling that all the side effects that come from taking a certain medication may cause heart attack, death.
Make heart attack death. Man, that's now worse than what I was trying to treat.
Oh man. All right, Wes, get us out of here.
Yeah, as CJ hit everything, I don't think I have to say anymore. Make sure you subscribe. As I told you last week, we're gonna have some things, some special things coming up before the season. It's a special podcast, maybe some special guests. We're gonna do some over unders as far as different guys on the season. So think about that. So when we drop that podcast, we're gonna want to hear what you think as far as can Mertz get 30 touchdowns or 25 touchdowns?
Yep,
can
it's
Trey
gonna
get
be Prize Picks edition of the Gators season.
That's right.
Can Trey get 1,000, 1,200 yards combined, rushing and receiving, those type of things. So think about what you have as far as the over-unders for the team. Not just wins and losses, but stats for some guys. Can some guy get 7 sacks? Can Boone come back and get 5 sacks? Those type of things. So think about those things.
Drop us some in the comments. Drop us
over-under what you think.
suggestion in the comments.
Yeah, because we were like 5 weeks away. I think preseason football is coming up in a couple of weeks. I think the Hall of Fame game is like August 1st. So we here, guys. I mean, like we were right around the corner. So I'm excited, man, for what's come forth, and I can't wait to see the game against whatever that school is down there. But anyway,
Coral Gables Community College.
Highland Gardens.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators, baby. Catch y'all next week.